What is going on, everyone? Badger here. Should have liked and sub, and let's get into this. It turns out it really is not a good idea to first attack all of the long-standing fans of your popular franchise. Then, before it even comes out, attack them, and then make sure when it does come out that it is filled with modern-day politics and just has an air of contempt for the very people that you used to make it for with love, and now you can just feel the hatred coming from them. And no, I'm not talking about Doctor Who, shockingly. Talk about that later. No, we're talking about Star Wars. And of course, Leslie Headland, former personal assistant, who of course got this job from Kathleen Kennedy. Remember when she said she'd honor George's legacy? That was fun. And Dave Filoni, the great liar Dave Filoni, who has been the creative lead, the creative director, the one that everything has to go through. We got Ahsoka, we got Boba Fett, and now we've got this. We've got the thread, and you can thank Dave for all of that, even if Leslie Headland's the one that thought it up. So they started out attacking us, blaming us before. This is similar to the Reva and similar to things they did after The Last Jedi, but they just did it all ahead of time and at the same time. So after calling us racist, sexist, bigots, homophobes, threatened by women, all that fun stuff, it actually came out, the first 2 episodes at least, and the ratings were horrible, and the fun stuff hadn't even happened, right? But immediately, the Rotten Tomatoes started dropping, and no, they doubled down and they released that 3rd episode. Of course, we talked about it on Open Bar. 24,000 people watching live. Not because I was on there, not because it was episode 90. Well, maybe because it was episode 99. It was the penultimate episode of Open Bar. I think it was probably because they introduced a bunch of forced lesbians that introduced Immaculate Conception, not just being the chosen one, Anakin, but being these 2 twins. So yeah, people had some feelings about it, and Star Wars Audience Store gets even, like I say, it kept going, and no one. We were on a live stream when it dropped to this number, 15%. And personally, as we keep going on, I think we can get this to below 10. But and even the IMDb 3.6 went from like a 5 to a 3.6. Now, this is all great for us, right? 15%. That can't just be our little corner of the internet. That can't be salty Star Wars fans that are upset that Luke got replaced by Ahsoka. That has to be the general population. Not so, according to Forbes reporter Paul Tassi, who is seething. He's coping and is seething real good over there, and it's only going to get worse, Paulie. So hold on to your butt. Strap on. I mean, strap in. Tassi claims viewers are review bombing. And by the way, review bombing is happening in both directions. It was yo-yoing back and forth. So people who feel strongly about this on both sides are in fact leaving reviews, bombing it up and bombing it down, but they only want to talk about when it goes down. So viewers have now mobilized a fleet of TIE bombers to obliterate user scores of the ACOLYTE wherever possible, namely on Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb. So it can't possibly be that the vast majority of the world, or people with access to Disney Plus who watch this, and we find out that there over 150 million people have access to Disney Plus, and not even 5 of them watch this, but I digress. Somehow this is all of our fault, even though we got people on our side going around saying, cancel Disney Plus. So not only does he reject any review bombing, but he rejects the notion that the audience or viewers think the show is terrible. He declares, no, I am not going to entertain a debate that this is not review bombing. A 15% score is barely more than 1/3 of the last most controversial Disney Star Wars project, The Last Jedi. Yeah. And when you look at the different amount of numbers, his evidence is that a majority of votes on IMDb are scores 1 out of 10, and that the show has received more reviews than previous Star Wars shows, even if it's got lower ratings. And then they just go on to go the numbers. As for why he believes people are rejecting the show, if he believes anyone, the small people he thinks are doing it, he says there are a bunch of dimensions to this and none of them good. There is absolutely a racial gender component to this. A clip from Mandela Stenberg about making people cry.
Not the gayest Star Wars. Not the.
Is it not doing it?
Not the gayest Star Wars. Not the.
It's pretty gay, let's be honest.
Yeah, delayed reaction there. Yeah, that's what people is getting upset about. That type of marketing. And yeah, obviously clips from Amanda Listenberg on her previous movies talking about the point was making white people cry. Look, we're very well aware that this is agenda. So when he says there's a racial and gender component, he's right. The racial and gender component is that we see the reasons they made it about forced commune, lesbian, witches, and the twins is not because it was a good story, because they were good characters and that it added a bunch of lore. You did it specifically because of the racial and the gender, and then you attacked us before anyone said anything. Hilariously, Tassi then admits that people don't like the show because they believe it is lore breaking on a number of levels. It is. And from the way it portrays Jedi as space cops and to how it describes how the twins, Osha and May, were created by Mother Anastasia, likely through dark and natural unmeans. So he claims he's not going to entertain the idea that it's not review bombing, then provides legitimate reasons for why people are actually disliking the show. And that, my friends, is your daily dose of cope from the mainstream journalist, who really, they're just upset that their little attacking of us didn't appropriately set the tone. And again, they don't have the power that they used to. If this was The Last Jedi, oh, we would all be toxic and racist, and that's why the movie, except we know why this show is shit, and it ain't because of us. So let me know what you think of this. Sure to like, share, and sub. If you have done that, thank you. If you're gonna do that, thank you. And let's make sure it works this time.
Well, bye.